Well, good morning, everybody. Today is October 10th. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to be looking at the 5G meeting, okay, and all of their grandiose sickness. But before we do that, we're going to go and we're going to show you, I want to show you what is going on inside of you right now. Now, before we go too far, this particular video is coming from A Plain Truth. And I want to put a shout out to him because he's done an amazing job. This man is working triple time. Now, I got a day job, and I have things I have to do. But we are all counting. You know, Jamie comes through all the time, Jamie Lee. And I want to thank you personally for all your efforts. Carol, too, from A Never Lose Truth. You know, and there are others, too. But this man is just doing everything he can to warn you about what's coming. So this is in relation to today, and we're going to be addressing these nanobots, okay? Because we're going to have to get these damn things out of our body. We're going to go back to Ray, our nano guy, or Roy, I'm sorry. But for today, I want to show you some startling stuff that is absolutely happening in your body right now. And it's not just this, but here we go. Let's get started. Okay, so it's going to be quiet. There's no audio. I guess I could put a song behind it. But we're just going to watch, because this is going on right now inside of your body. So this is a nanobot. It's going down to the axiom. It's encircling the axiom. And now it's shooting out around the nerve cells. It's going to come up. Now, I'm not an expert on the nerves. I might have this a little wrong, but you can see what it's doing. This is happening right now inside of your body. I hate to tell you. Okay, now. Okay, that's interesting that he chose that because I've also got that video too. So here we go. We're going to continue, and then we're going to go into that meeting.
I want to now go to what I think this is what you're about to see. First of all, what you're about to see is going on in you right now, yes. Everywhere in you.
Yes.
We're going to let you look briefly at a cell made by the chemistry department at Harvard University, which was getting a little worried they wasn't getting chemistry majors. So they thought maybe they should do something jazzy. So they know that textbooks in chemistry, you know, the chemistry always looks like circles and very boring. So they said, let's just actually make it like it is.
So this is basically what's going on in your cells right now. These are different fibers assembling, disassembling your cells. This is a molecular machine that walks around in your cells right now. It's called a kinesin and transports things. So for example, when things want to move around your cells, they don't just float around randomly. They actually actively moved around with little machines, little robots, nanobots that power your cells. What you see here is actually an amazing machine coming out of these little pores, which actually assembles other machines. This is like the factory floor of your cells. It's called a ribosome. It reads your RNA. RNA comes from the DNA, it's translated into RNA, and then it basically gets read out by these ribosomes, and they make new machines which then do other things. So there's all kinds of machines in your cells, things that rotate, things that walk, things that make other machines, things that read RNA, things that copy DNA, that open,
let's look at this again while we talk about it. Can we look at it a second time? First of all, how fast is this in real life? All these things going on.
Oh, some of those things can happen quite fast, some kind of slow. And that's actually an interesting thing of a nanoscale. You can create all kinds of time scales depending on how many pieces have to act together. Some things can happen in nanoseconds, some in milliseconds, some in microseconds. You know, they're actually... they make steps in the kind of millisecond range, I would say.
In the what?
Like milliseconds or thousandths of a second. And
so you can have this move.
So it's actually faster than that. It's much faster than that. So they made it kind of looking...
So this is a garbage man. That big wet sack is just cell garbage, and he's going to take it up this tube, or it is going to take it up this tube.
Yeah, there are some machines that walk from the inside of the cell to the outside of the cell to kick garbage out, and others that go from the outside of the cell to the inside cell to bring the good stuff in. So they're specialized machines. They only walk in certain directions.
Is this, what about the color? That's pretend, right?
Yeah, those things are so small you really can't, you know.
It would be very dark, I mean, unless you had stage lights or something. Yeah. This is a copier?
Yeah, it's a copy, and that little wormy thing coming out is a new protein coming out, and here's a new protein has formed, two of them linked together, and they make a new nanomachine that goes off to do its thing.
So this is what plants have and animals have and we have. We're built from these things.
Right. This is what's going on in your cells right now.
Okay, Yeah, you can see the gist of it. Now, what I want to tell you is prominently, now when I talk about baby boomers, I'm not talking about you, okay? I was never talking about you. If you're coming here, I figure you care about the future and your children. What I'm talking about is these crazy son of a bees. Everywhere. These two are prominent. He's got gray hair coming on. So these two, they're not the prominent speakers, though. Let me show you. We're going to go to the meeting now. Listen to this crap. More
unit or any
more baby boomers. This is the 5G meeting. And these players predominantly are baby boomers. Now listen to how thrilled he is about the technology and what they're doing to you and me, and especially our children. When I talk about the AI integrating with your child, I'm not kidding. You're all interfacing and integrating with this AI system, as you can see. And there's only one way to stop this damn thing, is to disengage. Yeah, it's going to take some willpower. It's like an addiction now. And the other thing I want to mention, that no matter what happens in the near future or whatever, remember, Rothschilds are not the New World Order. It is the emergent intelligence. That is the New World Order. So even if we were able to stop the Rothschilds, we need to stop this insanity, the 5G. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the data I have today. It's coming out of Science, Technology, and Transportation. I haven't had a chance to call their office, and we're going to find out what devious plans they have set. So here we go. We'll just play it.
those sorts of things. But it's really been remarkable to witness the acceleration of change and advancement in technology just in the last decade.
Oh, yeah.
And just think about where we're going.
Yeah.
5G means wireless broadband levels 10 to 100 times faster than existing networks. For consumers, that means faster and more advanced smartphones, more connected Internet of Things devices like smart thermostats and home assistants, and eventually self-driving cars. Hint, hint to the Senate. If we can just get them to pass our bill, that'd be a great thing. Senator, thank you. We'll work together. No, we're going to get there on that. The benefits of 5G will go well beyond consumer technology. For doctors, for patients, 5G will enable low latency, reliability, and speed necessary for remote surgery. This is something I hear about from healthcare providers back in my rural district in Oregon. Chairman Pai was out and heard from him as well. Winning the global race to 5G, it's a national priority, as it should be. It's why we're here today. And a priority of mine as Energy and Commerce Committee Chair. If we're going to win, we need to think creatively, we need to think strategically about infrastructure deployment, spectrum availability, and the supply chain, and we need to get on with it. We've made some excellent progress so far, and if we continue...
This man is an agent of the devil. Okay, I'm going to use that term as the devil. He's part of the dark side. Look what he's doing. They're selling their wares. They're selling this sick future that will encompass every thought. There will be thought crimes. Thought crimes are going to be real. And this bitch is salivating, okay? Again, as I said in my other video. Actually, I needed the definition for salivating since I have drooling. Anyway, here we go.
To do so, then I'm confident America will win. Again, I applaud the President's leadership and his team in convening not only this summit, but working hand in hand with us to get this policy in the right place. And I want you to know everybody at Energy and Commerce is a partner in this race as well. And we look forward to getting more done. Thank you very much.
Yeah, they're just thrilled to death. This is unbelievable stuff, people. Now, this is the guy who's setting up the legislation in Congress. You got to listen to him.
Well, good morning, and appreciate hearing from our colleague on the House side,
Another
Chairman Walden,
boomer.
in that beautiful radio baritone voice that he has. I'm sure that when I was growing up in South Dakota, the little town I grew up in, the western part of the state, we got one TV station, and of course all services. And you know, I look at my dad, who is...
We really don't care about his past and what he didn't do. We want to find out. He's got this 5G.
And to also say to all of you in the private sector and our colleagues in the Congress and at the regulatory agencies, and great to see members of the FCC here today, that this kind of partnership, I think, is what it's going to take for America to win the race to 5G. My colleague in the Senate...
What does it really mean to win the race to 5G, people? What is that? That's our extermination. That's our transformation into a cyborg being. That's what that is.
The committee and partner, Senator Wicker, and I and our colleagues on the Senate Commerce Committee have been very active and very busy, I think, as you know, on these issues, and will continue to plow forward. Sometimes it's challenging in the Senate, and Chairman Walden pointed out that they send things to the Senate and they seem to slow down over there. I think the founders designed it that way, but there are a number of things that we are working on with bipartisan support that I hope will lead to some really good outcomes and results for the future of our country. But the race has begun, and if we're going to lead it and get to gigabit speeds and low latency and connection to a tremendous number of devices, we have to take the right steps and put the right policies in place in order to make that happen. But it is a race that we need to win. And by many accounts, we're already behind China and other nations in key areas. But here's what sits...
Okay, not to interrupt too much, but what is it we're really winning? Huh? Turning us into cyber machines. That's what this race is about. It's an AI. It is emergent intelligence. It's not just the Rothschilds.
State 5G is expected to contribute $275 billion in new investment in our economy, expected to create $500 billion in economic growth and 3 million new jobs.
Sell the bitch.
Now, make no mistake, we have the technology. The technology is created by American industries, including those that are represented here today. And it's the best around, and it leads the world in next-generation mobile communications. But that technology is only part of the equation. We've also got to ensure that wireless providers have the infrastructure on which their systems depend.
Here we go.
And they must be able to deploy those networks in a reasonable and timely manner.
Check it out.
It was mentioned earlier, Shahira mentioned, but Senator Schatz and I have a bipartisan bill in the Senate called the Streamlined Small Cell Deployment Act, which does reflect the hard work of stakeholders from across the country, and is designed to eliminate the needless barriers to deploying 5G and to bring the benefits of 5G to American consumers. The Streamline Act will help America reap the benefits of 5G leadership. At the same time, it respects the important role that state and local governments play in deployment decisions. And I have to say to our colleagues at the FCC that I am very pleased that the FCC has just taken an important step to modernize its regulations consistent with the goals that are in the Streamline Act. The final piece of the puzzle that has been mentioned is spectrum. Spectrum is the lifeblood of wireless communications, and it presents a particular challenge for 5G. The bipartisan bicameral communications bill that my colleagues and I passed earlier this year and that the President signed into law is a good start. As part of that package, the Mobile Now Act, which I authored along with some of our colleagues in the Senate, requires that 255 megahertz of spectrum be identified for fixed and mobile wireless broadband use by 2022. But if America's wireless carriers do not have enough of the right kinds of spectrum available, Americans simply won't have the speed and the connections that we need. And you heard Chairman Walden allude to that earlier. But it's particularly important and relevant to those of us in rural America where the business case for deployment is very different than it is in America's big cities. And while we've made important progress in securing low and high band spectrum, the United States is falling behind when it comes to mid-band spectrum. And that's particularly troubling because mid-band spectrum is crucial to the initial deployment of 5G. Only 150 megahertz of mid-band spectrum has been specifically identified for likely 5G use, and that is on a shared basis under a fairly creative and novel licensing scheme. This puts us behind both China and South Korea in 5G spectrum and represents a serious threat to American leadership of next-generation technology.
You know what, I'm going to leave it right there. But ask yourself, what are they really bringing in? What are they really doing to us, people? So anyway, I will try to get into the legislation and find it. I just haven't had time. Remember, it isn't just a Rothschild banking scheme that is the New World Order. It is emergent intelligence. And these freaking baby boomers are just hell-bent on bringing this sick technology to everyone. And look how far we've already gone. It's insane. Anyway, guys, there you go. That's the introduction. I'll leave you the links. Go ahead and listen to the rest of his garbage. But he is talking about pushing the small canister legislation, too. So I need to find that, and we need to stop that. Anyway, you guys have a good one, and I will talk to you later. It's a mad world. Don't know what to tell you. Bye-bye.